Inner peace is not selfish. There is an idea that has become increasingly popular. Protect your peace, guard your energy, walk away from what disturbs you. And perhaps for many of us, those words arrive as a kind of relief, especially after years of people pleasing, after carrying burdens that were never ours, after trying to earn love through exhaustion. Learning to protect ourselves can be the beginning of healing, but somewhere along the way, the message can become distorted. We begin to believe that peace means distance, that healing means withdrawal, that serenity requires us to care a little less. But does it? Or have we misunderstood what peace was asking of us all along? Imagine a lake at dawn when the water is restless, the trees appear broken, the mountains seem to bend, even the sky loses its shape. Yet nothing outside the lake has changed, only the water. Our minds are often like that lake. When it is disturbed by fear, anger, resentment, or constant striving, the world itself begins to look distorted. We react where we might have listened. We defend where we might have understood. We assume where we might have been curious. So perhaps peace was never about escaping the world. Perhaps it was about seeing it more clearly. Across cultures, across continents, and across centuries, the world's greatest wisdom traditions have been pointing towards something remarkably simple. Christianity speaks of loving your neighbor as yourself. Buddhism teaches compassion and the interdependence of all beings. Judaism reminds us that repairing the world begins with the way we live each day. Islam calls us towards mercy, justice, and balance. Yoga teaches that beneath our different names, stories, and identities, there is one shared consciousness flowing through every living being. Different languages, different symbols, different paths, yet all quietly pointing towards a similar truth, that we are all far more connected than we often remember. Think about your own life. The smile of a stranger can soften an entire day. One gentle word can stay with someone for years. A harsh sentence can echo long after it has been forgotten by the person who spoke it. We affect one another constantly, not because we choose to, but because we cannot help it. Like ripples moving across water, our thoughts, our words, our presence travel farther than we ever see. Perhaps this is why inner peace matters so deeply, not because it makes our own lives more comfortable, but because it changes what we bring into every room we enter. Real peace doesn't make us indifferent, it makes us present. It doesn't ask to stop caring. It teaches us how to care without being consumed. It doesn't tell us to abandon difficult people. It teaches us to respond rather than react, to set boundaries without bitterness, to forgive without forgetting, to help others without disappearing ourselves, to love without losing ourselves. There is a quiet strength in that, one that asks for wisdom instead of impulse, compassion instead of resentment, clarity instead of chaos. Perhaps protecting your peace doesn't mean building walls around your heart. Perhaps it means tending the garden within it, because when the garden is cared for, its fragrance naturally reaches those around it. No effort, no performance, simply because that is its nature. Peace, too, has a way of spreading, not through words, but through presence. Imagine what our homes might feel like if one person chose calm instead of anger. Imagine friendships shaped more by listening than by winning. Imagine raising children who learn peace not because they were told about it, but because they lived beside someone who practiced it. Perhaps changing the world has always begun this quietly. One conversation, one breath, one act of patience, one heart at a time. We often think compassion requires endless sacrifice. But compassion without inner stability eventually becomes exhaustion. And exhaustion can quietly become resentment. True compassion is different. It is sustainable. It allows us to give without becoming empty, to serve without forgetting ourselves, to stand beside another person's pain without drowning in it. Perhaps this is the deeper meaning of inner peace. Not escape, not isolation, not indifference, but becoming the kind of person whose presence leaves the world a little gentler than it was before. So maybe the invitation isn't to choose between yourself and everyone else. Maybe it has never been a choice at all. Because the more peaceful you become within, the more kindness naturally flows outward. And perhaps that has always been the quiet thread connecting humanity's greatest teachings. Different voices, one invitation to know ourselves deeply so that we may meet one another more gently. As you move through today, pause for just a moment. Notice your breath. Notice the way you speak. Notice the energy you carry into your home, your work, your relationships. Because peace is rarely something we find. It is something we practice again and again until one day someone else feels a little more at peace simply because they met you. And if you'd like to experience that practice rather than simply reflect on it, I'll also be sharing a gentle 10-minute breathing meditation. No special experience is needed, just a quiet place, a comfortable seat, and your breath. Sometimes understanding begins with words, but peace begins with practice. Thank you for spending these moments with me. If this reflection resonated with you, I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments. What does inner peace mean to you? Until next time, take gentle care of yourself and of one another.